Hey everybody, this is Mira. Welcome to day 5 of the challenge. Today is the last day of the challenge and we're going to be wrapping it up by talking about irresistible offers. So you would have ideas for offers that you want to create when you worked your way through the challenge in the last few days. And in this session, we're going to talk about how you can possibly bring those ideas to life. We'll talk a little bit about idea and validation, and I'll also share with you my process of taking something from idea right up to launch and how that process differs from how most people work on their ideas when it comes to their products and services. I'll also walk you through the biggest mistake I see people making when it comes to the idea for an offer, whether it's a digital product or for a service. Okay, and a quick reminder, you should have an email from me by now with the worksheets for today. If you have not signed up for the challenge and you're watching this video, I'm going to leave a link below that you can sign up and get access to these worksheets. If you already signed up, but for some reason you didn't get my email, you didn't get the worksheets, then just hit reply on any email from me and I will take care of it for you. So if you are ready to dive right in, let's get started. Okay, we are talking about creating irresistible offers to attract ready-to-enroll customers. Now, the biggest mistake that people make when they create digital products is that they are focused on the format and not the outcome. So I've seen this time and time again, and I've made this mistake in my first year of business as well. So what do I mean by format focus? So this means that when you think, okay, I want to create a digital product, the first thing you do is I want to create a course. You think I want to create a membership, or you think I want to create maybe some kind of a swipe file or a mini course. So that is what I mean by format. Okay, you're thinking about the delivery of it, whether it's a course or a membership, whether it's a swipe file, whether it's some kind of a template, okay, whatever that might be. Those are formats, but you want to stay outcome focused because one outcome can be delivered in a few different ways. Correct? You can deliver something as a mini course, you can deliver something as an ebook, you can also deliver that same thing behind a membership paywall. Correct? So you don't want to immediately jump to conclusions and pick your format without brainstorming and nailing down your outcome or your promise. So what exactly is the better way of doing this? So what I'm going to share with you is my process of taking a digital product from idea to launch. And this is the same framework that I really go and dive into detail within Product in 7. So like I said, you don't want to start with the format, you want to start with the outcome because that is what people pay you for. So the very first thing we do is we validate and then we choose our product outcome or the promise. Okay, so we're not picking a course or we're not deciding on whether it's going to be a membership or anything of that sort. We are putting the customer or the audience in our focus as the primary thing, and then we are choosing the validation, which I'll walk you through in just a bit. Then you choose your outcome. All right, the second step is where you're defining your product parameters. So this is where you're choosing your type, the type of product, okay, the format in which you're going to deliver that. Then how exactly are you going to outline this product? Okay, so product parameters has a few different steps where you're really drilling down into what exactly is this going to be in terms of type, in terms of format, in terms of the structure of that particular product. Okay, now the third one is where you're going to triage your offer. So what do I mean by triage? This means that you are drilling down into the different aspects that would go into your sales page and that would go into your pre-launch content. So you're going to decide, and I'll talk a little bit about this as well. You're going to break down your offer inventory, which means if you have modules or if you've got chapters or if you've got different sections within your product, okay, how exactly are you going to present that? How exactly are you going to share that out with your audience? So this would mean breaking it up into like a description or tiny bullet points. Okay, then you have your headline. What is your main hook? What exactly is going to be up there on your sales page? Then what are the myths that people have? What are the FAQs? So all of this comes in to the triage portion. Now, steps 1, 2, and 3, this is where it is the most intensive. But once that is done, you can pretty much take a lot of those elements that you've worked on and feed it into your launch and your pre-launch. Okay, now step 4, this is where you're going to price, you're going to brand your product, because by now you have a good understanding of the transformation that your product gives, the outcome that it's going to give to your audience as well. You're also going to understand where exactly this fits within your entire product ecosystem. Okay, so after that, you're going to outline your pre-launch, your emails, then finally start creating that particular offer or your product, and then you launch. Okay, so you're not creating your product, you're not picking a format or anything of that sort. You're doing a lot of the heavy work, and then finally you're going to create it. Now, when you do it in this way, you will forego a lot of that doubt and confusion that comes in with, I don't know whether I'm putting in too much or too little, how much should go into this module, should this be reserved for another product. You will not have all of this confusion because you've taken these steps and you've done it in this order. Now, people typically do use product and offer interchangeably, as do I, but there is a little bit of a difference, okay? Now, product means nuts and your bolts. So your modules, your lessons, your worksheets, your videos, your chapters, okay? These are your nuts and bolts. Your offer talks about your promise, your outcome, and your main hook. So yes, people do use them interchangeably, but when I'm talking about your offer in its entirety, this is what I mean. Okay, so let's start with your validation. I'll walk you through a couple of things, and I want to focus on validation because this is when you're really planning for the new year. You possibly have a couple of ideas that you want to explore. So I will focus on validation in a little bit more detail. Okay, so will this idea work? And how would you know if you have an idea that's going to work, that's going to sell? Because ultimately that's what we want. Okay, so the main thing about idea and validation is these are the few things that you want to keep in mind. Are there existing money flows? Which means, is there current demand for a product like this or a product that solves a pain point like this? So this could be, doesn't have to be within the digital product space. It could be in terms of coaching. It could be in terms of people offering one-on-one support. Okay, it could be any type of business model. It doesn't just have to be digital product. It could be any type of business model. But the key thing here is that there is demand, and demand shows itself when there are flows in money. Okay, now the next thing obviously is to look at existing offers. Are there existing offers out there? Okay, you could look at places like Udemy, for instance, or any other type of course platform. Look at whether those particular courses have students, how are the reviews. Okay, now when it comes to search volume, okay, if you have access to that type of information, you could look at how many people are searching for content when it comes to that particular pain point. So all of this would give you some sense of whether you have an idea that's worth exploring. So we always start with a broad sweep when we're doing idea and validation, okay? Because you might have a couple of ideas, you're not really sure which one you want to pursue. So then if that's the case, you want to do a broad sweep. Okay, now after that, you want to think about how will you market or package this particular product. So can you frame your outcome as a result? Can you perhaps add a timeline to your outcome? What exactly is the transformation? And I love always going back to this elements of value pyramid. So this is a diagram that was given in the Harvard Business Review. Okay, and it models Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which you may have come across this particular term, okay, that states that human beings have different needs, okay, and it always starts with the most functional basic needs. So this elements of value pyramid it translates into the type of products and services that we buy. So the functional needs are those that make money, help you organize, help you connect, help you save time, help you simplify, okay, to help you to perhaps reduce cost. Okay, one step up, the emotional needs are perhaps to gain some kind of access to someone, or to have some kind of a like a badge that has a value, or to reduce anxiety. Okay, and then further up, you obviously have transcendence, providing hope or motivation. Okay, so these are the different elements of value. Now, the further up you go, typically the products do cost a lot more, because if you're providing someone access to you, or you're providing someone with affiliation or belonging, or having some kind of a mastermind or community, as you go further up the pyramid, the price point does get higher. And when you go further up in the pyramid, these are also offers that are further down within your product ecosystem. Another question you want to think about when we do idea and validation is, if your offer didn't exist, where would people go to solve these problems? Now, when you ask this question, what this does is to get yourself to look at others who are offering similar products and services as yours, okay, or to look at others who are already offering the product that you're intending on creating or launching. So this is part of your market scan. You want to think about how this particular product or offer you're creating is going to be different from the rest in the market. What are the different core messages surrounding the topic? Because you might be talking about the same topic, okay, but the core message that you're focusing on might be different. So when it comes to email, a lot of people focus on list building. Okay, but when it comes to the profitable email system, I talk a lot about focusing on nurture. Okay, I give more importance to the sequence aspect, the building out the sequences and nurturing people by taking them through your customer journey. That's my focus, versus someone else who could also be offering an email course, but their focus could be perhaps list building or lead generation. Okay, so the core message is going to be a little bit different. All right. Now, another thing is, who do your audience see as your competitors? Now, this question would apply if you have already perhaps launched this offer before. If it's you're thinking of offering this, or you've received questions from your audience asking about other types of products from someone else, then these are so-called your alternatives or your competitors, your comparative products. Why is this important? Because once you know this, you would be able to answer these questions on your sales page and address them within your emails, okay, your sales emails. You would also be able to see if your messaging is clear. So I was asked a question about a specific email course, and they asked, how my offer was different from theirs, that other offer. And I hadn't heard of that offer before. So I actually went into the sales page to take a look. And it became quite apparent immediately that they were not focusing on sequences at all. They did not cover sequence building. Their main focus was sending out that weekly newsletter. Okay, and their audience was a little bit different as well. While this is clear to me, it looks like it's very clear to me by looking at the sales page, your audience might not necessarily break down the sales page in this kind of detail. Okay, so it was very useful that I got to know what this other offer was, and I was able to explain the difference to my audience. And I've since gone into my sales page to make a couple of changes to highlight this difference more. Okay, and you could do the same. So why should they choose your product over the alternative? I spoke a little bit about that. All right, and I do suggest you put it in this kind of a table. You have your price, your ideal buyer, hook, and the outcome. And I've just kind of listed out a couple of examples over here of different email programs. Okay, the price points, the ideal buyers that they're catering to. So if you look at this, email on autopilot caters to bloggers, 10 times email caters to copywriters and freelancers. So the outcome is very different. Okay. The outcome for 10 times email is to get a higher status within the copywriting community, to get paid more. Okay. List Builders Lab is to simplify. And then the profitable email system is to make sales predictable through nurture. So all of these are email courses, but the price points are different. The ideal buyers are different. The hook and the outcome is slightly different as well because they cater to a different audience. So when you do your market scan and when you put it into a table like this, you want to see how different your offer is to others out there. How different is your promise? How does it stand in the marketplace? And if the framework that you are teaching them, how different is it from the others out there? Okay, or have you explained certain things in a different way from how others are doing so? So all of these are points of differentiation. Now, once we've done your idea validation, okay, and your market scan, now we can drill into choosing the type of product, okay, or type of offer. So this could be whether it's going to be a starter, is it going to be a specialist, is it going to be a signature? All right, it could also be perhaps a theme-based or bundle. Okay, now I'm going to leave a link to the product ecosystem quiz that would kind of walk you through what product you should be creating, and it talks a little bit about the different types that are out there as well. Okay, now after you've chosen your type, then you choose your format, and there are so many different types of formats. You've got masterclasses, you've got webinars, you've got a live workshop. Okay, you've got obviously the typical course, membership. There are so many different types of formats, and after that, then you pick your structure. How exactly are you going to break this down? Okay, within each module, for instance, what are the different sections? Or if it's an ebook, what are the different chapters? Okay, you go into detail in your structure. Typically, most people, they create their product, write their sales page, and then they launch. Okay, alternatively, a slightly better way would be, okay, idea, validate, create the product, sales page, and launch. But if you noticed with the system that I just shared with you, okay, let me just backtrack to that slide. Okay, step 3 over here, triage your offer. This is when we are writing our sales page. So we're writing our sales page way before we create a single video or a single worksheet within our product. All right, let me swap back. So one of the best tips I could give you, okay, when it comes to writing your sales page is to do it way beforehand, because once you have your sales page done and out of the way, it lifts a huge weight off your shoulders. Now, that's one thing. The other thing is it helps to keep you on track and on point so that you don't kind of get lost in this entire cesspool of just creating and creating and creating. Once you have your sales page done, it's going to get easier for you to look at each module and see if you have kind of kept it on point. See if you've met those the promises that you've outlined or the things that you said you were going to cover, okay, on your sales page. Okay, another tip I want to give you when it comes to writing sales pages is do not write it from start to end, all right? Which means, all right, start with your headline, start with the introduction, and then go on to the other sections. This is the reason why most people get stuck writing sales pages, because they're doing it from start to end. So typically in a sales page, any sales page that you take, you will have these different elements. So this is the grid map that I teach you within Product in 7. Now, the first thing you want to do is identify who exactly is this offer for. Are you speaking to a blogger? Are you speaking to an entrepreneur? Are you speaking to a freelancer? Who exactly is this person? And is that person likely to be someone who is problem aware, problem unaware? Maybe they are slightly further along in the journey. Perhaps they are solution aware. They've been shopping around, but nothing worked. And then here they are again. Now, based on who is your person, the way you open your sales conversation on that sales page is going to be slightly different. Okay, so when you're speaking to someone who is problem aware, is going to be very different from when you speak to someone who is problem unaware, or when you're speaking to someone who is solution aware, for instance. Okay, so once you have your opening, all right, then you want to also talk about the pain points. Okay, obviously you want them to see that you understand their pain points, all right? You want to mirror back their feelings. So that's where this sad face comes into play. You also want to talk about false beliefs and myths that they potentially have when it comes to the topic of the offer. You want to talk about objections that they may have, like, hey, this is not going to work for me. This is not suitable. You want to talk about the rainbow at the other end, all right? What is the transformation? What exactly can they expect? And then obviously you have your FAQs and then your offer inventory, which is all of your bullet points, your description of your individual modules or your chapters. Okay, so these are the elements that go onto your sales page, but do not make the mistake of thinking that you need to write it in order of how it would be placed on the sales page. Write the ones that come easiest to you first and then piece them together. So the FAQs are some of the easiest to write. Okay, the offer inventory is also very, very easy to write. The ones that are difficult to write are your opening and your hook. Okay, but this is where people start and then they get stuck and then they kind of abandon that sales page. So don't do that. The biggest tip I can give you is to kind of write them, whatever comes easy to you, write that section first and then piece it together. Now, once you've done this, then you can go on to working on your pre-launch content. So in day 4, when I walked you guys through the training on content, I gave you a picture of the launch timeline that you can follow or you can model after. So that is what you are going to follow through when you're going to work on your pre-launch content and you're going to outline all of those emails. Okay, but because you've done all of this work, because you've already triaged your offer, you've written your sales page, you have even got very, very clear about the structure of your offer, what exactly goes into each module. You've validated your idea. You've done the heavy work. That portion, launching it, creating your pre-launch is going to be a lot easier for you because all of this heavy work is already done. So for today, what you want to do is the products that you want to create next year, you would already have a sense of them, okay? Because we've already walked through that on day 2 and day 3. Do an audit or market scan. Just take one, okay? Just take one particular product. Do an audit or market scan and validate that particular idea. And think of ways that you can package it. What would be the best outcome? Okay, what would be the best promise? And then think about what format or type works best for you to deliver on this particular outcome or promise. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stop the share right now. Now, I do have an on-demand masterclass and a free email course that walks you through a couple of these concepts. I'm going to leave the link below. There will also be an invitation to join Product in 7. That is my program that walks you through how to validate your offers, how to write your sales pages, how to come up with your sales emails, and basically bring that particular offer to launch. Okay, so you can check that out. Alternatively, you can sign up for the VIP list of Product in 7, specifically if digital products are on your radar for next year. So we are going to continue this conversation next week as well. And I will share the details of when I'm going to go live and what exactly I'm going to be talking about. Till then, have a really good weekend. If you're going to be catching up on all of these different trainings over the weekend, remember you can access it from the group. Okay, and there is also a separate page, so-called the Command Central of Plan Intensive, where all of the transcripts and all of the videos are going to be uploaded, just in case you want to get off Facebook and look at all of this without any kind of distraction. That link will be in your email as well. So till I see you guys again next week,